Good evening, Tewksbury. Board of Health is here, so I call this meeting of the Tewksbury Board of Health to order at 6:02. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And so we have 4 of our 5 members, so we have established a quorum. And so first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from May 16th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I second.
Okay. It has been moved and second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Okay. I hear no further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I say aye as well. All opposed say nay. I hear none. The agenda is, the motion has been approved. Okay. Sorry, the minutes have been approved. Okay. Next, Health Department report.
Okay, so Para Grill had a small grease fire on June 1st. I received a call from the fire department. It was a Saturday morning. They were told not to open until I got there to give them my approval to open. However, when I got there, they had already started operating again. So I sent a letter, which I CC'd all of you on. I have not got a response from them, but I did speak with the owner on the phone that day when I was there. Let's see, Giovanni's. So I went there on June 4th because they're changing ownership, and when that happens, we can go in to do an inspection to see if there's any like floors, walls, ceilings that need to be fixed before the new owners get in there. Unfortunately, when I was there, the conditions under the current owner were not safe or sanitary, so I had to close them. They were closed for 2 days, and I went back on June 6th, and the current owner did enough work to reopen, and the new owners should be taking over by the end of the month. Then Jimbo's on May 16th, Ariel did a routine inspection there, and they were also not clean. It wasn't safe. There was a lack of knowledge by all of the staff there. So we closed them that day. I had them hire a consultant to help with training and to get them up to where they needed to reopen. On June 3rd, I met with their consultant that they had hired at the restaurant with Ariel, and they had done enough cleaning to reopen. They also got, I'd say about 5 of their staff training in ServSafe, and their consultant is going to stay on for 6 months and do 2 inspections a year, so he'll be there till December. Also, I did want to mention that Central Mass Mosquito is now going to be spraying residents' yards for the summer. You can just go to their website and request service at your house.
Any questions from the members of the board?
Did Para Grill did they say anything when you talked to the owner?
He tried to tell me that they weren't reopened, but I was standing there as the person was serving customers. He was apologetic. Yeah.
They are aware that if this is to occur again, they will become in front of the board? Okay. All right. Any other discussion? I hear none. Okay, so next on the agenda, thank you for that, is the subcommittee reports. Tewksbury Cares with Chris. I know you just got the binder,
Yep.
so Do you, anything that you'd like to?
No, I just kind of glanced over it a little bit. I'll go further into it when I have time, and if I have any questions, I'll reach out directly to you via email.
Perfect. Great. And then with the Wellness Committee, that is myself. So we met last month, and look at my notes. There was discussion on vape detectors in the schools. So they are looking for, they've been getting some budgets and numbers to see, like costs, to see how much it's going to be for the vapes at the schools, the vape detectors in the bathrooms and stuff, which is, that's a big thing in the schools right now, is all the kids vaping. They do have monitors, and they are doing like a certain amount of time that they can be into the bathroom, and they have to go, they can only go by themselves, they can't go in multiples. So they're trying to reduce it that way, but the vape detectors are one of the things. And then they did do their testing on the Yonder pouches, which is for them to put their cell phones in before they go into, like, prior to school starting, and they get them back at the end of the day, and that has gone pretty well. There's been a lot of education on that, and one of the students that is actually part of the Wellness Committee, she said that it was really nice that they've seen a lot more interaction within the students, not so much always on the phones, and really like paying attention with the teachers and things like that. So that has actually improved with the schools. And then the wellness policy is in the final stages with the school committee. And then the next meeting, we pause for the summer. So the next meeting would be October 16th. And then next is the working group, microblading regulations.
So Luke and I had met, and we started out with the certification in licenses, because I saw from what the town already has is the gut of it. It has all the detailed breakdown on where they do it, how they do it, the cleanliness. It has all the health guidelines. So I think the most important thing was to first figure out what we wanted to look at as far as the licenses. From looking at other states and other towns, most of them will have one license. It'll be either body art practitioner, esthetician, cosmetology, or it could be 2 years under a body art practitioner or 2,500 hours as an apprenticeship. Then, so they only had one of those. And then under that was another group of things, which is the bloodborne pathogen certification. You have the microblading training certificate, business license, liability insurance, and then, of course, the health department approval. So when we were looking at it, one of the things we looked at was there are a lot of people out there that may be a body art practitioner, and there may be people that are an esthetician, or they have a cosmetology license. What we would like to recommend is that we would take any one of those top licenses, because there's so many different people that have it. So for instance, if you knew someone who was a body art practitioner, and we decided we're going to go with a cosmetology license, then they would have to go back to school and learn basically the same thing that they've already learned as a body art practitioner. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So we were recommending that we give them the option. They must have one of these top licenses and all of the bottom certificates. All license.
Okay.
It's very similar to most businesses that need a license, such as restaurants. You need a license, and then you have all that other stuff that falls under it. you know, whether it's crowd control, there's so many things. Do you have anything you want to?
You summed it up perfectly. When we started to look at the language in the bylaws, it seemed like putting one short amendment in to basically line out what the certifications are needed specifically for microblading, and then I don't have the exact number of the bylaw in front of me, but where we have things listed like tattooing, et cetera, we could just amend it to just add microblading as one of those options as well. So, pretty simple.
Okay. And then I know you had mentioned that there is no nationally certified microblading program. So,
There's just certificates, there's schools for certificates.
certificates, not certifications, because there's a difference,
Yeah,
right?
so
Certificates versus.
certificates are where we're at.
So my question, I guess, would be so if someone comes along with a certificate,
They have to have a license.
okay, okay,
We're going to give you all those choices, but you have to have one of those licenses.
one of those licenses has to be, so if they just have a certificate and not those okay, great. And then the question would be, just as you had mentioned again, so I know for the tattoos, they are still required to have a 4-credit course of anatomy and physiology with a grade C or better at a New England Association of Schools and Colleges. Are we still adding that?
But doesn't that fall under, when they get their license, they have to obtain that to get their license?
So that would, I think what Susan and I, and correct me if I have this wrong, were thinking was, if you have the body art practitioner license, which has that requirement, then all you need is a certificate.
Right.
If some other license that we're deciding to, and we can decide that as a board if we want to have different licenses or whatnot, but if another license doesn't require that, then you won't have to get that additionally, as long as you have the certificate and that other license.
Okay.
So the board for body art practitioners, in the past, they've accepted, it's called the Wallace course, instead of anatomy and physiology. And I know that course is still being offered. I can't exactly speak to it. I'm not an expert on what they offer there. That was the previous director who was more so involved in that. And then there was a Quincy course, but that is no longer being offered. I heard it may come back around, and it was a really good course from my understanding, but that is no longer being offered.
So, any questions or comments from the board or director? Okay. I guess my only question would be, so as far as kind of putting it together as you're still working on that
To break it down, yes, yes.
Okay.
Because one of the things I think that you all have to understand is, under each of these licenses, whether it's an esthetician or cosmetology, I want you to feel comfortable knowing what they've learned under that. So a lot of them have anatomy and all of that.
Yes.
It's like,
depending
when I
on
went to
where they went,
cosmetology
yeah.
school, I felt like I was going to, studying to be a doctor.
Yep.
So I think if we break it down and make you comfortable and understand what falls under them, then we could probably move forward with whatever the decision is.
Okay, great.
Makes sense?
Yeah, I completely concur.
Has there been an interest or an inquiry for microblading in town yet?
Oh, yes,
There has, okay.
yeah. It's really popular in New Hampshire, very popular. And, yeah, and I think some of the businesses here are definitely missing out.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Any other feedback?
Does anyone have any questions or anything specific they want us to work on besides just the language and definitions on stuff for next time?
No,
Seemed pretty thorough.
I think, yeah,
Just like, you know, if
that's
there's
already a great step.
If there's
Thank
something you
for-
think about, let us know. And
Yeah, no, that's already a great step, so thank you for doing that. And then I feel like once we get those definitions and a little bit more clear, then we can actually put together, the next step would be putting together the regulation and then voting on it.
Great, and I just want to say, I was, one of the things we spoke about is, I was pleasantly surprised and happy to see how detailed the town's information was. It was impressive.
Yeah. That was from.
2017, was it?
Yeah, so that was
But it was good.
they kind of kept, they left they opened the doors. Opened the
Long
doors
time
for
ago.
that, yes. Great. So no old business on the agenda. New business, just a couple of things that were sent and mentioned. So beach closures due to excessive bacteria levels. You can actually look that up on the State Department Public Health website. There are 22, there's been in and out currently some beaches in Massachusetts, they're closing for, due to high bacteria levels. So a lot of times when beaches close, it's due to high bacteria levels, that it's recent rain and rainwater that carry bacteria and nutrients. So they cause the bacteria to multiply and create unsafe levels. So some of the things that could happen if you are swimming in the unsafe waters is stomach problems such as nausea, vomit, diarrhea, breathing issues, sore throat, coughing, runny nose, skin problems like rashes, itching, ear and eye issues, and flu-like symptoms. So usually they're pretty minor, but sometimes they can be pretty serious, especially because depending on what kind of bacteria. And then children and elderly are the people with the weak immune system, so they're more at risk. I did send out a list. There is none, well, Tewksbury doesn't have any beaches, but there are, I didn't print that out. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I guess the closest ones would be Concord, which is Walden Pond, Boston, Nantucket is another one, Micamut Pond, and then Lynn, Salem, there's 2, Children's Island, and then the Camp Naumkeag. So yeah, so some of these are bacterial exceedants, so higher levels of bacteria. So you can always keep an eye on with the website of the public health. They usually, you can just Google Mass beaches, public health closures, and that usually will get you the list pretty quickly. Any questions or feedback on that? Great. Salmonella outbreak, that was a little bit ago. It was from cucumbers. So it was actually cucumbers from Florida, and it's from Fresh Start Produce. So they haven't been necessarily in Massachusetts. However, so the affected areas were Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Maryland, North Carolina, and a bunch of others. But they can there was some incidents in Massachusetts. They just aren't sure if it was. So obviously, most people recover within the week is what they were saying. And then you want to reduce contamination in fruits. So just wash your hands with soap and water before and handling fresh produce. Rinse all your produce, so really get that under running water before eating, cutting, and cooking. You can also use a brush to clean anything with the skin that you're going to eat the skin. So obviously removing the outer layers of the leafy greens, that can actually prevent or some of the contamination. And then always separate from raw meat, refrigerate your perishables promptly, clean your surfaces, use safe water, and peel anything when necessary. Those are some of the ways to prevent some of that bacteria, especially salmonella. Anything on that? Okay. And then the next that was up on there was high levels of PFAS, which are the forever chemicals in Massachusetts water. So in April, they actually, the EPA has changed their levels. So, and PFAS are often called forever chemicals because they actually persist in the environment and in the human body, and they're commonly used in manufacturing consumer products and firefighting foam. So they are known to lead to some health issues, including increased risk of cancer, reduced immune system, hormone imbalances, liver damage, thyroid, and fertility issues. So the affected areas are the North Shore, South Shore, Greater Boston, Metro West, Merrimack Valley, and Cape Cod. PFAS are not just in the water. They are actually also in nonstick cookware, grease-resistant paper alternatives, so like your microwavable popcorn bags, fast food wrappers, things like that. And then you want to try and limit the consumption of prepackaged foods, because those also have the PFAS in there. And then the EPA has just came out with a new regulation. I don't know the numbers per se, however, it is with drinking water, with tap water, anything that you are, some people don't have filters, I would always recommend a filtration system of some sort. And then really getting filtration that will remove the PFAS from the water to reduce that. And that is all I have on that. Any, okay. So next on the agenda is any board member comments. This is the place where you can ask questions, have any comments, anything that you'd like to add or saw. Anything?
No, I like the way we're moving along. Makes me happy. And I don't mean today, I mean the agenda
Well, thank you.
items.
The only thing that I would say is the ticks, mosquitoes and ticks, because you mentioned that. I did have, so just, common areas to look is behind the ears, neck, scalp, waist. They actually like to hide in like the darker areas. So just really check, especially after being outside in the woods. And the best little thing out there, there's like a little tool, it's a tick remover, because when they bite, they actually screw, it's kind of like they screw into your skin. So that tick remover is really great. Don't put anything on top of the tick to try and kill it first, because you suffocate it, and then everything that it actually has will pretty much vomit back into you. So you wanna just kind of remove it and then send it out you can always call your doctor, or there is a place that you can send it out to check to see if it does have any disease, and that will prevent it as well. So just be mindful of that. The ticks are out, especially now with the heat, and just check every spot possible, even the hidden spot, and look really thoroughly, especially with the kids out and about rolling around. Check their hair in and out of their ears. And that is all I have on that. Okay. So next would be any future agenda items that we would like to discuss, not necessarily meaning that they would be on our next meeting, but something that we can add on so we can look into and ensure that we put it on an agenda in the future. Any ideas? This is the place.
In September, Ashley was planning on doing a naloxone, which is, why can't I think of the name? Street name for it.
Narcan?
Oh, Narcan.
Yep. Presentation, because we ordered Narcan to hand out to residents in September's opioid awareness month.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Our next is July 18th, so it'll be after July 4th. Anything else that anyone can think of for the next coming months? Well, if so, just send on an email to Shannon. All right, thank you all. Okay, so next meeting is scheduled for July 18th, 2024 at 6 PM. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second.
It has been moved in second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Any opposed? I hear none. Meeting is adjourned at 6:28 PM. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the night. Stay cool with this heat and
Happy summer.
stay well.